Tonight on KVR News, the Cactus Yearbook in trouble, why the annual could be forced to stop printing.
Stomping out cancer, a unique way these runners are raising breast cancer awareness.
And Halloween is just days away, how UT students are making sure these kids get lots of treats.
You're watching KVR News, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening. You're watching KVR News for Monday, October 28th. I'm Cassandra Jaramillo.
And I'm Taylor Villarreal. Thanks for joining us tonight.
UT's student government officially recognizes the need of immigration reform for undocumented Longhorns and their families. That's after SG passed controversial resolution AR-16 last week in front of a packed assembly room.
The resolution also reaffirms SG support for Texas House Bill 1403, which allows undocumented students to pay in-state college tuition, as well as DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which provides a temporary relief from deportation.
Supporters of AR-16 were vocal during the meeting, encouraging representatives to vote yes. One supporter said the first label should be Longhorn, and the last label we should put on them is undocumented.
Some representatives were concerned, though, that not everyone's opinion was being taken into account. University-wide Representative Stephen Michael Vincent says that SG is supposed to represent the entire student body, and by passing AR-16, the Assembly didn't listen to a large portion of the university.
We have to try to take away those positive action words like affirm, support, endorse, those words which are going to posit student organizations and students against each other, which kind of runs opposite to the mission of student government.
KVR also reached out to the co-author of the resolution, Amy Ather. She says that opponents of the AR-16 did not recognize undocumented students as stakeholders in the UT community and disrespected the political movement we built from scratch, arguing that immigration reform was not relevant to UT.
Well, the discussion about AR-16 in last week's meeting lasted for more than 2 hours. At times, the crowd in the gallery was so loud, Speaker Kenton Wilson had to issue a warning, telling them you can snap, but that's it.
SG did pass the resolution by a vote of 18-9. There were 2 abstentions.
Texas student media continues to face financial troubles. The board met on Friday to review budget performances. Cutting a day from the daily Texan circulation was once again brought up as a possibility. While most of the focus has been on the Texan, another TSM entity has problems that haven't been getting the same level of attention.
The Cactus Yearbook is older than the UT Tower and the oldest publication within the Texas student media properties. But the 120-year-old publication may no longer be around in years to come, and that's a future decision that will be made by the TSM board, and that's if they can come to one.
This group hasn't addressed whether or not the book is still something that we should be doing, because nobody wants to kill the Cactus Yearbook.
But everyone wants to talk about the Daily Texan, since it brings the most amount of revenue to the TSM entity. However, Jacqueline Kocklemeyer, the editor of Cactus Yearbook, says that ignoring the issues of Cactus may be doing greater harm.
The Daily Texan brings in the most money. They are definitely a huge part of Texas student media, a huge part of the students involved in learning about publication. So it's one of those things where sometimes we're a little bit on the back burner in Cactus. Maybe we don't have the resources right now to do anything, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about it.
Unlike the other TSM properties that have weekly and daily print advertisements or commercials, the Cactus Yearbook can only advertise once a year. That being said, the survival of the yearbook relies on revenue from sales.
Revenue for TSM is a critical component to the success of the entity.
We reported last week about the College of Communications' $50 million endowment from the Moody Foundation. That endowment will not relieve the TSM budget issues, and that's because the TSM board currently works under Student Affairs. College of Communication Dean Roderick Hart says there is discussion on changing that in the future.
Organizations don't report through me, they report through the Vice President for Student Affairs. So we're having a larger conversation on campus about that reporting structure, and depending upon how that turns out, perhaps some of the money could be used for them, but that's just not clear at this point.
Austin is now the second and largest city in Texas to set a minimum wage requirement. City Council voted 6-1 to approve an $11 wage for companies seeking taxpayer incentives. You can see supporters of the minimum wage there. Mayor Lee Leffingwell was the only council member to vote against the amendment. He said wage requirements will discourage companies from moving to Austin. The resolution also requires companies to provide health care and domestic partner benefits, as well as workers' compensation and OSHA safety training for employees. We brought you this information earlier this month, the campus's post office announcement that it will be closing. The office's lease was set to expire last month, but it was extended through February of next year. The lease has now been extended through February of 2016. That's so the university has 2 extra years to make any permanent decisions regarding the post office.
The 18th annual Texas Book Festival took place this past weekend. Those in attendance enjoyed live book readings, author signings, and good old Austin food and music. Alex Wilkins gives us an inside look at the festival.
The Capitol and Austin streets were filled with people attending the Texas Book Festival this past weekend. The festival hosted more than 250 authors, including Daniel Handler, author of Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events, and author of the Goosebumps series, R.L. Stine. In a Q&A session, Stine said that he had started out writing comedy books, but quickly realized the success in scaring people.
And I thought, wait a minute, I found something kids really want to read. Kids want to be scared.
After, Stine signed books for a long line of excited fans. Guest authors spoke about their inspirations and passions for writing. One guest, A. Scott Berg, discussed his latest biography on Woodrow Wilson. He said he had been wanting to write a biography on a political figure and had always been drawn to Wilson.
When I was 15 years old, I read a book about Woodrow Wilson, and I became so enchanted by his personal story that I put his poster up on my wall. I think making me the only 15-year-old on the block.
The festival also included a Central Market cooking tent, showcasing cookbook author Tim Byers and owner of the popular Salt Lick restaurant, Scott Roberts. The festival attracted people just looking to see their favorite authors, as well as book fanatics of all genres. Lisa Gray attended the festival, assuming she would stick to her planned-out schedule, but ended up happily wandering into many unfamiliar events.
You walk into something completely unknown, and that's the wonderful thing about this particular event. They're all fabulous.
The Texas Book Festival raised money for public libraries and hopes to have promoted Texas authors and the joys of reading. Alex Wilkins, KVR News.
A UT astronomy professor recently discovered the oldest and furthest galaxy ever found. Professor Stephen Finkelstein and his research team used high-powered telescopes to capture light that the galaxy released billions of years ago. The galaxy is 13.1 billion light years away, meaning the images they gathered actually show how the galaxy appeared millions of years ago. Finkelstein said he hopes to build on the observations and explore even deeper into the universe's past.
Still to come on KVR News, UT organizations are rewarding kids for their good grades.
And a recipe book stolen. The fight to reclaim the Taco Bible after the break.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. Halloween is now just days away, and many student organizations are making sure kids have plenty of treats.
As Halloween approaches, UT is not passing up the opportunity to get into the holiday spirit by throwing its annual Longhorn Halloween in the Frank Irwin Center this past Sunday.
Well, I know it's a fun place to bring the kids. Every year they look forward to coming here, and they have a great time. I like that they have a lot of interactive activities for them, a lot of hands-on, and every year they learn something new. They really do.
The fair was staffed and created by student groups, staff associations, and other organizations from across campus.
I've had a blast, actually. I had a really touching moment when a little girl came to me. I was in full costume, and a lot of kids are getting scared of me. But this little girl brave as can be in a wheelchair, wanted like a kiss and a hug from me, and it was adorable.
Many of the organizations lending a helping hand have a specific interest in causes like this.
We're with Helping Horns, and we're a service organization here on campus, and we basically do a lot of everything, but we do a lot of partnership with Ridgetop Elementary, so we like to help out the children.
This year, Longhorn Halloween included face painting, ring tosses, a haunted house, and a performance from the UT Dance Club. Through this event, UT students provided a safe environment for the children of the Austin community, and their hard work paid off in the smiling faces of all the attendees.
Student organizations also came together Saturday for the annual Best Buddies Halloween Carnival. Activities included harvest-themed games, face painting, a photo booth, and dance lessons. Best Buddies is a program that allows students to develop a one-on-one relationship with individuals with students with disabilities.
2013 marked the first year that TAX was replaced by the STAR test. Members of Kappa Alpha Psi and various UT organizations put on a carnival for elementary students who performed exceptionally well on their test. Students were able to take a break from class to play games, jump in moon bounces, and enjoy sweet treats. The organizations hope that putting on the event will encourage and motivate the students to continue to do well on their test.
The purpose is to influence them or let them know that education can be, we're congratulating them for doing a good job with the STAR test. We want to promote higher education. This is an opportunity for them to have fun. They've had a long time of just studying and getting prepared for the test, so this is time they can kind of kick back and have fun.
The 5th annual Stiletto Stampede benefiting breast cancer awareness was held on Saturday. Taylor Hampton was there to show us the men, women, and dogs strut 100 meters in stilettos.
It's a great way to come out and join my fellow fighters.
Lisa McBride was the first in the Survivor and Fighter heat to cross the finish line. She participates in boot camp, one of the programs the Stiletto Stampede hosts for women going through breast cancer.
With our streamer. Well, that means I have no hair. That means as of right now, I'm med, which is no evidence of disease, and hopefully that will stay that way.
This year, a portion of the proceeds raised at the Stiletto Stampede will benefit boot camp.
We typically raise anywhere between $20,000 and $25,000 for this event.
Stiletto Stampede founder Michelle Patterson began the run after her friend was diagnosed with cancer.
She's a 6-year survivor now, but she has 2 daughters, and I really was inspired by them. They're young, and they sort of looked at the disease for the first time and kind of thought, is this going to happen to me?
Patterson says she chose the 100-meter dash in stilettos because it provides a unique opportunity to raise awareness.
I love shoes, and I'm a runner, so I sort of put the two together and decided we needed to do something really out of the box to raise awareness among young people.
This year's Stampede will also benefit the new Seton Breast Care Center at Seton Medical in Central Austin.
It will be a state-of-the-art center with the latest technology in breast imaging and diagnostics.
She says the center will provide comprehensive care for those diagnosed with breast cancer and their families. The center will open in February 2014. Taylor Hampton, KVR News.
Popular Austin chain Torchy's Tacos has filed a lawsuit after the company's recipes were stolen. The food trailer-turned-to-restaurant claims a now former employee stole the company's taco Bible, taking it to Baytown restaurant Texas Taco Company. The lawsuit seeks damages and a court injunction for the Texas Taco Company to surrender any information copied from the recipe book. That book contains a start-to-finish recipe and process guide for every one of Torchy's food items. Texas Taco Company has denied the allegations brought against it. The employee was caught red-handed on security footage stealing the Taco Bible by hiding it in a trash can, which he then took outside.
A new chicken joint is coming to town. Raising Cane's is opening its doors this week at the corner of MLK and Guadalupe, nearly 5 months after Chick-fil-A opened on the lot right next door. The location is Raising Cane's first in Austin. The grand opening is this Thursday at 10 a.m.
Beautiful weather in Austin recently, but more rain in the forecast.
Simon Liu will have the details next.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News tip line, 475-8181.
Welcome back to KVR News. I'm Simon Liu. Well, we saw cloudy skies and some light drizzle earlier today, but that gave way to warmer, humid weather. Tonight, we can expect temperatures to stay at the low 70s, unseasonably warm for this time of the year, especially after last week's cool weather and the cold front. Tuesday should bring mostly cloudy weather with gusts as high as 20 miles per hour and temperatures topping out at 84 degrees. Storm clouds are looming over the horizon for Wednesday, thanks to the interaction between deep Gulf moisture and the cold front. We've got a 70% chance of heavy thunderstorms as well as windy conditions. Expect this to carry over to Halloween with a 50% chance of rain Thursday morning. Temperatures will top out in the low 80s and the nights will be chillier, dropping into the mid-50s. The National Weather Service is predicting 1 to 3 inches of rain Wednesday and Thursday, with some locations picking up 5 or more inches. It then looks like sunny skies and drier weather for the remainder of the week, with increasing clouds on Sunday. Temperatures will cool down just a little to the mid to upper 70s, so be sure to break out that rain jacket and umbrella midweek and make sure it doesn't rain on your parade. Live from the Weather Center, Simon Liu, KVR News.
Thanks, Simon. I'm ready for the cooler weather to be back. We're talking Longhorn football after the break.
Could the Horns win the Big 12 Conference? Stay tuned for more KVR News.
Now, KVR News at 9 Sports.
Welcome back to KVR News. I'm Camille Brooks. The Longhorns traveled up I-35 again this weekend, where they found success 2 weeks ago against OU. They were searching for another victory against TCU. Let's head to Amon G. Carter Stadium for the highlights. Here we go in Fort Worth. Texas defense makes a big statement on third down. Reed and Jeffcoat force a fumble, which is recovered by the Longhorns. They will start their drive on their own 3-yard line. From first and goal, Malcolm Brown is going to punch it in to Texas to strike first, 7-0. This will carry the Longhorns' momentum all the way through the rest of the game. TCU uses some trickery later in the first. A receiver pass to Ladarius Brown results in a TCU touchdown. This would be TCU's only touchdown of the night. Early in the second quarter, Texas up 10-7. Case McCoy drops a 65-yard bomb right into the hands of Marcus Johnson. Johnson will stride into the end zone untouched, and the Horns will be up still, 10-7. Now heading into the third quarter at the goal line, Brown gets his second touchdown of the night, and the Horns stretch the lead to 27-7. And Farah, who's been golden all season, knocks down a 36-yard field goal. Texas wins 30-7 and improves to 4-0 in Big 12 play.
So, Camille, the Longhorns are undefeated right now in the Big 12. What are our chances of winning the conference this season?
Our chances are strong for winning the conference. Our only competition right now is Baylor, and they haven't played anybody big yet. I mean, they put up a lot of points, but they haven't played any kind of competitive defenses like we have. So I think the chances are strong for the Longhorns to take the conference.
All right, well, thank you, Camille.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Taylor Hampton. She has your entertainment news right after the break. Taylor, what's on the rundown this week?
Chris Brown and Rihanna both making headlines in Halloween costumes that are a little too racy. Stay tuned for more KVR News.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. I'm Taylor Hampton. Singer Chris Brown was arrested early Sunday morning in Washington, D.C. and charged with felony assault. That's after Brown got into a physical altercation with another man near his hotel. The R&B singer is still on probation for the 2009 beating of his then-girlfriend Rihanna. If his arrest is determined to be in violation of his probation, the star could end up in jail for 4 years. Speaking of Rihanna, she's making headlines herself after a concert in the Israeli city Tel Aviv. According to an Israeli paper, the singer made a strange political statement during the song Pour It Up. She allegedly substituted the lyrics, "All I see is dollar signs," with the phrase, "All I see is Palestine." After the much investigation, though, it was confirmed that Rihanna never changed the lyrics, proving the hostile environment still surrounding the Israeli and Palestinian conflict.
Well, Halloween is this Thursday, and some celebs are making some questionable costume choices. Former Dancing with the Stars pro Julianne Hough is making headlines after donning an offensive blackface costume. Hough was impersonating the character Crazy Eyes from the Netflix series Orange is the New Black. She was quick to respond via Twitter, saying it was never her intention to be disrespectful or demeaning to anyone in any way. But the racial costumes didn't stop there. In Florida, 2 men dressed up as Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman. Their photo was posted on Facebook, and unsurprisingly, they received a large amount of criticism. That's all your entertainment news this week. I'm Taylor Hampton.
Thanks, Taylor, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Cassandra Jaramillo.
And I'm Taylor Villarreal. For news and weather updates throughout the week, you can follow us on Twitter at KVR News. Stay tuned for College Press Box up next at Texas Student Television. Have a good night.